The recording. Thank you very much.
Okay, just to let you know that I've started recording now.
Excellent. So thank you very much all for attending today to our user group meeting for September 25, which has a very, I suppose, inspirational title, DMP ownership, data retention, and PIDs. Today will be a quite different user group meeting because what we will do, I'm going to give you a very quick introduction about the updates that we have on DMP Online, what we are working at the moment, what will be ready and deployed in the next weeks or months. And then we will start an open discussions that we will have a poll that we have prepared about these 5 questions that you already saw on the website and that has been also announced. And for these questions, we try to collect the poll and then have 10 minutes discussion or so with all of them. So please try to join the discussions and share your opinion, point of view, feedback, whatever is on your mind regarding these questions. And then there will be more general questions that we try to keep for the end. Some updates in terms of DMP Online and all the installations. At the moment, we are working on plan comments, user experience, and UI updates. We know that some of you have reported some issues about while creating comments on the page is already work in progress. There will be probably a much nicer interface ready soon, and that is going to also solve some problem that some of you have reported. In terms of the ROR integration, which I spoke also and remember in May, is going to be completed. The ROR integration permits users to detect, we detect the user organization through their own email address. So if I try to register a new account using, for example, ad.ac.uk, I will be associated automatically to the University of Edinburgh account. This work is done thanks to the integration of the ROR database, which we have an extended version that we have integrated with other features. We will start also the fare sharing features, where it will be possible through the DMP Online to access to the standards, databases, policies, and collections. That will be available through the faresharing.org website. This thanks to the integration to the APIs that are released with them. I think that all the platform, all the administrators will receive maybe some emails for an updates very soon, and then we probably able to share some screenshot from the first prototype. And in terms of machine expo DMPs, I didn't put the slide here, but because we are already working as to the Open API, which is an RDA standard, which we are co-chair with other platforms inside the DMP. But we are also releasing a new machine expo system, which is called the MPC, which wants to be environmentally responsible event propagations for data management plan. Essentially, we will be able to send out notifications also to external organization about updates that has been done to the plan. For example, if a user have imported a plan on research space, through this integration is possible to tell to the RSpace that the plan has been updated, and then RSpace can collect again the plan. This is very short, and I see that already 3 minutes are the schedule. So let me stop sharing the screen. I'm going to share another pages. Give me a second. And let me share again. Here we go. Okay, so do you see the Wood Club page? Now you can access to Wood Club. You can go to woodclub.com website and use the code that you see for the event, or you can use your mobile phone if you wanted to use connect on mobile. Scan the QR code. I see that already 4 persons joined. Or in the meantime, that you are joined, forget to present myself for anyone that is new on this user group. My name is Andrea Davanzo. I am the DMP online service manager. Today with me, there is Diana Sisu, John Pinto, and Marta Nicholson. That are parts of the DMP online team. I see that we already have 34 users inside the poll. Well, let's see if I can move on with the first question, which is who owns the DMP? So number 1, the person who created, the principal investigator, the institution, the founder, other. So please try to give your answers. There is also space to add a comment, so feel free to add a comment. Excellent, very good. We already have 33. Okay, so
Andrea, you're quite quiet. Sorry to interrupt. Something happened to your microphone.
probably because of Buenos Aires. Can you hear me now?
It's still very far away. You must have changed microphone somehow.
Okay, let me see if I can fix the problem.
We still can't hear you, Andrea.
Try to see. Is this better?
No, you're still quite far out. You were. We were
1, 2, 3. 1, 2,
It's
3.
better, much better.
Yeah, better.
Okay. Okay. Sorry for the inconvenience. Let me see if I can go back on. Nice. Right. So, let's have a look at the result. 66% for the person who created. We have some comments. We are going to have a look very quickly. 37% the principal investigator, 23% the institution, 0% the founder, something that was expected, so I'm not surprised. 2%, and we have a 6% for others. So let's have a look at the comments. The person who created because they created, and our institute, we have no policy on ownership yet. So for now, I consider the creator as the owner. Excellent. So let's have a look here. Collaboration or co-ownership, the B is useless without PI or the researcher, which is a very good point. Let's have a look at the institution. May depend on institution IP policy, which is a very good point. For people who replace the current owner is a research group, usually in line with institutional data governance. And let's see other. The person who wrote it, authorship would be similar to papers. Depends where it is created under the contract or not. Okay, now thank you very much for the question. Always see a tendency to say the person who created it, but also in the comments that we say that something was referring, for example, the PI, and I believe that also it depends from under the contract or not. And I suppose that this contract is the contract from the researcher and the organization. Now, based on these questions, is any of you that wants to share something more? Any questions that want to add any feedback more? Because this question is very related to what's happened also after a person, for example, leave the institution and move, for example, from one institution to another institution. And we know that we have this problem, and we have a lot of feedback and question raises and saying, what's happened to this plan? Needs the plan follow the researcher, the PI, the collaborator, or is property, let's say, is owned by the organization because the founding, for example, if there is any funding, has been given to the organization where this project and the research belongs to. So I don't see the full chart, but if any of you wanted to open the mic and say something, raise your hand. And Jana, if you wanted to, if you have a better screen than me.
Nobody has raised a hand. Let's see now. There is a chat by Danny. Sorry, there's a comment in the chat by Danny. I don't know if you want to read it out loud, Danny, or I can read it for you.
Because I very mostly
Okay.
see the chat.
Don't worry, you've gone quiet again, Andrea. So I'll read it out for you, Danny. According to Dutch law, I believe, for many products, but very complicated, if products created under contract, apologies, of an institution, that the contractor has the rights to, holdership. There may be sensitive information discussed within the DMP regarding type of data or metadata or the storage ID platforms used. So apologies for, excuse me, for my voice. So Danny seems to suggest that he thinks that perhaps the customer, i.e. The institution, should hold ownership of the plan. Whereas currently, perhaps, Andrea, we can explain the situation is that we, the DMP Online, and the way its data structures are formed, currently, I would say that until recently, is the user that is the owner. That's the way the data structures are currently within DMP Online. So Andrea has explained to you what the conundrum is. Some of you are asking us for a bit of restriction on how the plans are shared, how they are visible. Danny has made his point here, whereas up until now, you're all quite happy with the current data structures. Does any of you want to raise their hand and intervene in this slight conundrum? Thank you.
I kind of like to say something. Sorry, this is me, Martin Nicholson. I know that in UK as well, that happens a lot with part of our contract when you work in university means anything you create within the university belongs to the university. So anything that I created DMP Online would belong to my university. That is been the design, but because there's exceptions, and I think this is what Diana was trying to say, is there are institutions who don't have that, then automatically it goes the other, we leave it that the creation was the owner was the creator, the owner of the plan is the creator of the plan. Joaquin, you have the hand up. Please go for it.
Okay, thank you. I would very much agree with the notion that it somehow belongs to the institution where it was created, and with the funding from that was given to the institution. But I mean, it's I don't know how important it is. I mean, as admins of the at the institution, we have access to the plans. We can download them and archive them, and if so no one can go away with their DMP without us knowing it. So I feel confident that the user can do what she or he does with the DMP afterwards, but we will still retain a copy at the institution.
Okay, so Joaquin thinks it's not an issue. Anybody else would like to chip in?
Okay, I believe we can go on the next question. So let's see if I can go. Which is, who is responsible for maintaining and preserving the DMP thoughts and beyond the project life cycle? Yeah, we see. I would say that pretty much is agree about the PI, and there is a very confidence on this. And the ownership, I mean, author and collaborators on API, see that is very common. Let me see if I move down. Primary investigator. Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much. I see that people are still answering. I believe that there is quite a consensus that the PI is the first person which is responsible for maintaining, which makes sense. But I found also some interesting, for example, data stewards and or PI, that is this comment. This is a question that's raised because during the conversation with some of you, we had also this feedback about the data stewards that is in a way in line with the DMP with the PI and the collaborators for many, many, many reasons. So it looks like there is. Okay. So is any of you that wanted to add something more on this question? It was a quite easy question, probably. But if any of you wanted to go add something or put in the chat or open the mic. If not, we can go on the next question. Anything on the charts?
Yes, there are two comments on the chat that are quite good. One of them came from Rosa Loneborg. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce the name correctly. A good solution would be to define that the administrative metadata belongs to the organization, while the content, i.e. The researcher's answers to the question in the questionnaire and the template, if you like, belongs to the researcher. That's a very good answer. Yeah, go ahead, Andrea.
No, yes, go ahead. Sorry, Diana.
So that was one of the questions. With regards to the question, I think it's both question 1 and question 2. Rosa also said the PI often will not have time to do the details, the detailed DMP, so a role as maintainer of a DMP would be nice. Just to let you know, we are downloading all these comments in the chat, and we keep a record of them. Okay, there's another. Oh, right. This is Danny completing his earlier point that sending us a reference link to a Dutch law, Article 7, that specifies that institution is the rights holder. Okay, so there are differences.
Okay, thank you very much, Danny, for sharing this link. Appreciate it. Okay, so let's see if we can go on next questions. Should the BMP be preserved longer than the dataset it describes? Excellent. That's very good distribution. So yes is 37%, no is 15%. I don't know, which is still valid, is 15%, and maybe is 33%. I'd more like to ask a question if anyone wanted to reply is maybe from one of you if wanted to reply for a yes, any reason why this should be a yes, and if anyone can reply for no and maybe would be great. Feel free again to open the mic and or type in the chat.
Sorry, it wasn't clear what the question was, Andrea. Sorry.
If anyone wanted to explain why yes, why
Oh,
the
all right.
DMP should be preserved longer than the data set. Okay, so
Richard Grimes, go ahead, please. You raised your hand, Richard.
Hi, yes. So I said yes to this question. I think that the DMP describes just the whole research process and what steps we're taking during that process, and it might be useful later on for people to be able to look back and see what the entire process was for this research, even though the data sets might no longer be available. I see it sort of like an administrative or sort of archival of interest.
yeah. Thank you very much, Richard, which is a very good point.
There is another comment in support of that. Somebody said, I don't recognize the name from the Zoom user ID, I apologize. It says, I think it might be useful to store the DMP longer because the DMP should also describe when and why the data set has been deleted. If an institute or group wants to research an old data set, they can check the DMP to find out where it is.
That is another good point. Excellent. I'm conscious also about the time.
Andrea, you're a bit quiet again, sorry.
Let me see if I can do something here.
While Andrea's sorting out his microphone, I'm going to read a couple of very useful points. Okay, so DMP does not just describe, that's Merlin, DMP does not just describe a data set, but a research process. Yasmin completed, and there could be other outputs other than research data sets. So beware of these very useful comments when we decide whether to keep a DMP longer than the data set. But people seem to be leaning towards that anyway, towards the yes.
Okay,
Andrea?
which is good. Can you hear me now? So and so. Okay. I'm trying to be more loud. I hope that is going to work. Yeah, okay, let's go move on next question, which is here.
think this one's quite clear. Andrea, have you gone quiet or?
I'm not sure why it's now is muted, but can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. I think we can move on to this one so that we don't waste
Y-
time. If it's got
yeah.
clear answer.
Yes, because the next question is still related, which is what metadata should be exposed or restricted when you assign a PID to a DMP. I know that is quite technical, but I hope we can gather some feedback anyway. Exposed, institution, funder, PI. Administrative metadata. Don't know, which is a very good answer as well. Depending on what research, options, author, institute, project title should be open. Yep, that is. Thank you. Expose all metadata. I know that this question is very technical, but I see that there are very good answers. Yeah, I think that's. I see still people still answering. At least creation dates and modifying dates. Yeah, that's a good observation as well. Yeah, that is another good point considering the embargo. Yeah. Oops. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Sorry, guys. I was question 5. And yeah, I would say that I pretty much see about information like institutional and personal that are the researcher, for example. And I like also I don't understand the questions, which is good. It's still a very good answer. The question is, it's very specific, and let me explain why we ask this question. As DMP Online, we are working to assign PIDs to the DMP. And that is a project that we started at the moment. We are doing evaluation to the best way to associate the DMP. So associate a PID, to DMP. But it's also a consideration that in a bigger project, which is the integration of the RAID standard, which is the research activity ID. And inside of the standard, essentially, these, if you're not familiar with, is an identifier that is going to comprehend the entire research activity. So, for example, the facility, instruments, data management plan, and as well. And this is a persistent identifier, which is going to include the entire research activity all the way around, and DMP are included inside of this standard. I'm going to stop sharing the screen. And also, this question is related to another project that, I mean, a feature is not a project that we are working at the moment, which is versioning of the DMPs. Obviously, when a DMP should be seen as a living document, and I know that's all of us learn a lot of things that is a living document. But if I ask the question and I'm gonna put what is a living document, probably the answer is I don't know who will be the winner, because all of us has a different definitions about how to make a DMP and a living document. When we assign PIDs, like for example, we do when we go in Zenodo and we want to publish in Zenodo, we know that we have some versioning, and Zenodo and the PIDs, the DOI support this versioning of the system. What we are trying to do as DMP Online is to, and this is, thank you very much all for all the information and the answers that you gave us today, is try to take this information and let's deploy two different projects simultaneously. One is to be able to assign PIDs to our DMPs, but we have some restrictions, and we know that, for example, some of you replied, one list depends from the institutions, at least the title should be open, and the data that is created should be open. But also is how to create this versioning of DMPs, because when we assign, for example, a DMP and a DOI to a DMP, no one can update this DMP anymore because that has been assigned as personal identifier. So we need a way to versioning this DMP. And it says, okay, up to this point, this was the DOI that has been associated. This is the version for the DMP. And then we need to move on for eventually for other directions and have the way to describe and make the DMPs. Now, if we look all the questions that we raised today, and they are pretty much all related because it's the vision that we want to go with DMP Online and for community. So your feedback has been very helpful for us in terms to understand ownership from the DMPs. And this question is related because we have a lot of time the request. I need, for example, researchers that change the institutions, and it says, can I go ahead with their own DMPs? And because then when they work on the institutions, the DMP was there. If I change the institution, I'm like, can I see the DMP that I work with? And this is one of the first questions. And from the feedback that we have today, I would say that is depends, because if I work from a personal project that was not related to an institution, probably I like to that this DMP follow my own things. But if I work for the institution, so and then the DMP has been deposited and used, for example, institutional templates and whatsoever. And we have, for example, a comment from Danny and other from you. that instead should be part of the institution. And so if I leave the institution, I will leave the DMP as they are. And these problems start to become more complicated when we think that DMP has been associated with PIDs. And so, and this is all the change that we are now trying to understand in order to make the right step forward, in order to associate PIDs to DMPs, but also understanding the ownerships and the next move that we have to do as developments from the community for the DMP online platform. I saw bubbles appearing about the chat, so
yeah, there are several very interesting comments there. And the last question is whether private plans should receive DOIs. Rosa Lonenberg made a very interesting comment. She said, it would be nice if a similar principle was applied for DMPs. They get DOIs if admin metadata is public, but content may be private. And I saw from your answers that were coming in that typically you had a different attitude towards metadata from the content of the plan. If anybody in the group would like to actually raise their hand and expand on that, please don't be shy. This is just us. Federico, unless you don't want to be recorded, I would like you to expand on your comment. You made a very interesting one. Are you happy to be recorded? If not, just say so and I'll read out your comment. Read it out, please. Okay, I will. I don't know, it has to be me, Federico. I would say that a DOI would work as a PID for a DMP while being released versions, meaning version 1.0 first 6 months of the project, version 2.0 mid-project DMP updates, version 3.0 a part of final reporting. More info on here, and he inserted a link to Zenodo FAQ, what is DOI versioning. Yeah, we will keep a comment on that. Very interesting. Thank you so much. He's inserted a link there for everybody in the chat.
yes, I can also answer to Federico. The answer is yes, this is the idea that we have in our minds, because this is a very good explanation how the DMP should be seen as a living document, because when you put this as versioning, for example, I had an idea and I created my first release of the DMP. And so I published and I assigned the DOI to this DMP that will be the first release or version, apologies. And then when I'm doing my research, there are some updates and I can publish this version. And that is going to fit very well inside this global RAID integration. So this is the idea that is we are following at the moment. Any other comments?
Well, if we've finished with the questions, there was a comment earlier on, a comment, more of a question from Danny concerning the ROR integration. Are we all happy to go to that, or are there more comments coming on this issue? Let's see. Richard Grimes, of course, you made a comment. You spoke earlier. Are you happy to speak out again? I think it's a very interesting comment.
Yeah, so I just said I think everyone else has sort of agreed with this, and I think you just said it as well. But I typed the comment, so I thought I'd hit enter anyway. But I think it makes sense to take inspiration from Git. So every change is tracked, but only giving PIDs to a specific version whenever you release a paper or you reach a milestone in your project.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, this is something also that we were thinking how to show to the user, for example, the changes between one version to the another version. Otherwise, if it's a very long DMP, it starts to become difficult to understand what has been changed between one release to the other. Right. So
Danny, sorry. Danny
yeah.
has a questions on PIDs. Are PIDs forced for a DMP in DMP online? I would assume the researcher has control. Do you understand this question, Andrea? Or should we
No,
ask
can you
the
repeat the question? Sorry, Diana.
Sorry. Are PIDs forced for a DMP in DMP online? I would assume the researcher has control.
No, the researchers have the control and probably something that can be done. Well, we have not planned yet, but at least will be on the control from the researcher. We don't know yet if it needs to be approved from the organization, let's say, for example, from the data stewards and whatsoever. So there will be probably some control also to the organization level, but we didn't design yet the final release, but the researcher will be the first person that have control over this. That is absolutely a must.
Are you happy with that, Danny?
Okay.
Yep, okay.
So
Shall we go to,
yes,
unless
Diana.
you want to wrap this discussion, we can go to Danny's original question so we don't forget it, but you go ahead, Andrea.
Yes, I would like to maybe stop the recording, so maybe that someone don't want it to be recorded and we can leave 10 minutes to open chat. So if anyone wants to ask a question, and I will be happy to do.
Okay, I'll stop recording now.